I was tricked into doing this, it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
all right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
That was Elon Musk opening up his heart to Jordan Peterson about how he lost his son to the woke mind virus. He also says that he was not informed just how strong beta blockers can be and how they essentially sterilize a person. His son Xavier isn't actually dead. However, ever since going through the gender change, he has completely distanced himself from his father. In fact, back in 2022, he even legally changed his name to Vivian Wilson and made it clear he wants nothing to do with his dad, Elon. And even Elon has openly said that he considers Vivian to be a communist who thinks every rich person is evil.
It is Vivian Jenna Wilson. I'm just going to come on here and say that I'm doing well. I'm doing fine, actually. And I am formulating a response and whatnot. It's being worked on. It's being worked on. Just hold your goddamn horses for 5 more seconds, okay? I promise it's getting worked on.
As you can see, things have been really bad between the two of them for a while, and according to a Wall Street Journal author, Walter Isaacson, he said that this bad blood with Vivian has hurt Elon more than anything ever since the death of his first child, Nevada, who died in infancy. This pain can be seen in the man's eyes in this latest interview as he explains how he lost his son.
Your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
However, unlike most parents who can't do anything to change this situation, Mr. Musk seems to be a man determined to bring an end to this woke mind virus.
So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that. And we're making some progress.
Now, in order to understand what exactly he's doing to bring some change, you need to first understand what he means when he says woke mind virus, because as I'm sure most of you know, it's not exactly the kind of virus that gives you a runny nose. A while ago, Elon himself defined this virus like this in an interview with Bill Maher.
I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. Those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous.
He also went on to say that one of the side effects of the so-called mind virus is that it does not allow people to ask questions and suppresses free speech. He also said this about the woke mind virus in yet another interview.
You call it the woke mind. Yes, it's the name you gave to that.
Woke mind
that
virus.
illness. Woke mind illness. What's that virus?
Yeah, so
It's coming to Europe. I have to advise you, huh?
Yes, well, this is not something you should import from America. Please don't import the woke mind virus. It's bad. Essentially, to summarize maybe the woke mind virus, it consists of creating very, very divisive identity politics. So it actually amplifies, mind virus, in my view, amplifies racism, amplifies, frankly, sexism, and all the isms. And while claiming to do the opposite, it actually divides people and makes them sort of hate each other, and it makes people hate themselves.
And now that we know what exactly the symptoms are of the woke mind virus, we can actually quickly figure out what Elon has been doing to fight against it. We all know how he reinstated accounts of Donald Trump and Alex Jones on Twitter or X, even though he received a lot of backlash from pretty much the entire world. He was also one of the first people to openly endorse President Donald Trump after an attempt on his life. He tweeted a video of the president waving his hand after the shooting, and the caption for that video read, I fully endorse President Trump and hope for his rapid recovery. In other news, Joe Biden finally made an appearance after making that bizarre announcement about leaving the race and endorsing Kamala Harris. Now, I've covered the entire situation in my last video, so if you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out, because the theory about a coup in the Democratic Party is not as shallow as it may seem.
Why did you drop out, Mr. President? Why did you drop out of the election? Was it a difficult decision to make?
But it looks like Biden is not only alive, but also well enough to travel back to D.C., where he will be having a meeting with Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu. They did in fact have that meeting. Afterwards, many people on social media were asking some very interesting questions. Joe Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu in the Oval Office today. Here's the curious part. In reality, Netanyahu stands at 184 centimeters, while Biden is 183 centimeters. So how did Biden appear taller than Netanyahu in this photo? You're watching a theater, people. Question everything. Also causing many people to ask questions was this video of Joe Biden, who magically appears to be much taller than normal. Somehow, Kamala Harris has won the support of enough delegates to win a presidential nomination from her party. And it is impressive how she managed to raise $126 million for her campaign so far.
So, Wisconsin, I am told as of this morning that we have earned the support of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination.
However, the simple fact is that despite all of this, she still has an approval rating of just 38% and a disapproval rating of 50%. She also lags behind Trump by a clear 2 points, and this gap increases significantly when you compare them in the battleground states. And to make matters worse, she might not even have the support of the black community because of her past and the way she received this nomination without any input from the Democratic voters. Well, at least she knows what day it is, which isn't something we can say about the sitting president anymore. Now, let's take a look at something that's been making quite a lot of waves on X. I'm talking about this story of the Austin Private Wealth Fund that shorted the stock of DJT only days before the attempt on President Trump's life. I'm sure by now some of you might have heard about this story, and like me, you weren't exactly sure what was going on. Well, allow me to explain why this seems so shady. The first thing you need to understand is that DJT is the stock option for Trump Media and the Technology Group Corporation. This company is listed on the NASDAQ and is the owner of Truth Social, which of course is the social media platform used by President Donald Trump. He also owns a majority stake in that company, which means the company's future and growth are directly linked to him. Now, shorting a stock simply means betting against it so that you make money if its value goes down within a certain period. According to a post by Wise Guys, the number of shorts against DJT doubled from 7 million to 15 million between the 2nd and the 12th of July. The tweet states, "Who knew the hit was coming? DJT shorts skyrocketed the week before the hit. Follow the shorts. DJT shorts went from 7 million to 15 million from July 1st to July 12th. They thought Monday morning Trump would be dead. Who shorted millions of shares the week before the hit job?" Now, this is an astronomical rise because it means millions of dollars were betting on the fact that DJT will go down on Monday. Now, this trend is pretty suspicious in itself, but it gets even crazier when you look at this tweet from Charles Rixey. I put your tweet into a pie chart and sorted the data table. 71% of all put options on DJT in the last 90 days came from one individual fund, Austin Private Wealth, on one day, the day before the assassination attempt. Now, I don't know about you, but it does not look good at all for Austin Private Wealth Fund once you take a look at these numbers.
Austin Private Wealth shorted 12 million shares of Donald Trump's stock on July 12th. So here's everything that you need to know about Austin Private Wealth. Because if it's not an input error, it's definitely not intentional, right? As you can see, an event starkly reminiscent of strange trading activity just before the what attacks in 2001? On July 12th, do keep in mind, a day before July 13th, 12 million. Ironically, Austin Private Wealth's highest shareholders just so happen to be BlackRock and Vanguard. So what is a put option, people might ask? Well, like it says here, I pulled this good article that explains it very thoroughly. Ironically, a put option is an investment made by someone who expects a company's stock price to fall. I have no idea why they worded it wrong right there, but this still explains it pretty clearly. People who engage in inside trading by put options can make 5 times or sometimes even 100 times profits, depending on how quickly the stock plummets. And like it says here, hypothetically, if Trump did die in the assassination attempt, his company would have become worthless. Its stock would have become zero in a day. And hypothetically, the people who bought put options would have made billions in profit. The action that was taken was they shorted 12 million shares of Donald Trump's stock. Now this is the most important part, right? The potential impact that they listed was a significant loss supposedly for the company. What? And as you can see, this portfolio impact was nearly a quarter of their entire portfolio. And their portfolio value was about $1 billion in assets under management. And as you can see, in case of events like Trump's death, the value of Trump Media and Technology Group shares would have plummeted, and the put options held by companies such as the Austin Private Wealth would have been worth billions. Also, supposedly according to reports, ironically, Austin Private Wealth has also bought 36 million puts of Rumble on July 12th the same day. And supposedly, like it says right here, it's common knowledge that Rumble stock would have plummeted too if something had happened to Trump. Do keep in mind, these are all different articles, okay? Now this is the most interesting part of it all, right? Some of Austin Private Wealth's top holdings, as reported in their latest 13F filing, include the Rothschild family, BlackRock, Vanguard, Meta, George Bush, and the Cheney family. What? And like it says here, Trump's death would have crashed the NASDAQ and DOW Jones for a week. And hypothetically, supposedly according to some estimates, anyone who had this knowledge beforehand would have made an estimated $696 billion to $1 trillion in profits.
Fortunately, President Trump not only survived the attempt on his life, but also won the hearts of millions of Americans who were amazed by his resilience to stand up and fight. And because of this, the DJT stock went up 47% on Monday, adding about $1.5 billion to Trump's stake in the company. On the other hand, Austin Private Wealth apologized on the 16th of July and stated that they mistakenly shorted Trump's stock before the shooting that took place at his rally.
Austin Private Wealth, the firm that shorted 12 million shares of the Donald Trump stock just a day before his assassination attempt, has come out this morning and said that the whole thing was a horrible clerical error. The statement on their website explains that the correct holding amount was 12 contracts or 1,200 shares, not 12 million shares as was filed in error. They are blaming this mistake on a third-party vendor that increased the number of shares by a multiple of 10,000. But the craziest part to me is that they filed the report on the 12th but didn't amend it until the 16th. You would think that with such a huge error, as soon as the weekend was over on Monday the 15th, that would be the first thing you would do. Why would you wait until Tuesday the 16th when all of this information about your trading activity broke on social media? They say that they deeply regret this error and the concern that it caused, and I absolutely bet that they do. My question to you is, do you think this was an error?
I don't know if most people are going to believe this explanation from the company about their shady stock position, but one thing is for sure. Donald Trump might be the only guy you do not want to bet against because he has an insane history of beating the odds. That marks the end of today's video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts with everyone in the comments section below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you on the next one.